First story was posted 11 years ago by a Reddit user named Rajiv. I've got a story to tell. This isn't my house but my cousin's, and I practically lived there anyway. I don't believe in ghosts at all, but my family does, vehemently. Growing up in an Asian country, superstitions were practically fact, and it wasn't easy for a person to dismiss them. So when my cousin said he saw a strange man standing outside the gate, muttering odd things and leaving, the family was a little taken back. Who was this guy? Immediately, everyone thought that the house had been marked or cursed. Several strange occurrences were reported. One of the girls said that when she entered the bedroom, she saw a white woman dressed Victorian style sitting on her bed, crying. We were formerly an English colony. Doppelgangers of family members were seen. At night, more than a few people reported seeing a strange furry figure peering furtively into the bedroom. It all reached a breaking point when my cousin suddenly broke out into a fit in the middle of the day. He had no history of epilepsy whatsoever. He was writhing on the floor, babbling incoherently about a bearded man standing in the corner of the room glaring at him. The family then decided they had had enough of this and went to a local priest to cleanse the house. Things seemed to settle after. I personally never bought into it, but as a child, I really couldn't say much. Who knows what really happened anyway? Second story was posted 3 years ago by a Reddit user named ThaiGuy42. I did not believe in ghosts. Sure, I was entertained by the notion, but anyone who came out and stated that they believed in ghosts, I dismissed as new age hippies or whatever. And then I lived in a haunted house. It started out as little things. The bathroom door would open violently if anyone ever closed the latch, so often that we came to count on it. I asked my roommate if he ever noticed a red light in the spare bedroom, as I always did, when walking up the stairs in the dark. He did. I'd always go into the spare room to investigate, but could never find the source of the light. These things I could explain away. Then weirder things started to happen. One night, I was sitting in the living room with my girlfriend and my roommate when I noticed the shape of a woman's face appear in the pane of glass of the window in the other room. We all witnessed this. Even then, I tried to explain it away as a trick of the light. What finally convinced me that something was happening was one time when I was brushing my teeth, something tugged insistently on my sleeve, and I'm 100% sure that I didn't catch it on anything. I was in the middle of the bathroom. Have you ever been fishing? It was like a fish was nibbling on the line, except on my t-shirt sleeve. That freaked me out. Still, stranger things happened. We'd hear footsteps upstairs while home alone. I often saw shadows out of the corner of my eye. One time, I even saw a shadow while looking right at it in the middle of the room, not up against a wall. I moved around to make sure, for 5 minutes or so. Twice while heading up the stairs to my room for bed, I heard a woman's voice say goodnight to me over my shoulder. The strangest thing that happened was New Year's Eve 3 years ago. My roommate and I were hosting a party and waiting for people to show up, sitting in the living room. Suddenly, I felt something brushing against my arm, and the light bulb in the lamp I was sitting beside exploded. There were a few other things that happened, and some I'm forgetting, I'm sure. But the fact is that too many strange things happened for it to be a coincidence. I have since moved out of the house, but the belief remains. Something strange was happening there. Third story was posted 8 months ago by a Reddit user named Esther Rosenblatt. I lived in a haunted house from 2009 to 2013. Here are my experiences. They weren't so terrifying, more just surprising. On the first day in the house, I was home alone and in the back empty sunroom when a male voice, as if he was standing right next to me, said, "What are you doing here?" It was shocking. Then, another time, I was in the lounge room early morning on my laptop when something caught my attention in the corner of my eye. I looked up, and at the double glass French doors that led into the lounge room, I saw a solid black shadow man standing there, who then proceeded to walk across the lounge room and disappeared. When I would walk up the hallway at night, I had to pass the kitchen, where I'd often see a shadow person standing in the kitchen behind the kitchen counter. I hadn't told anyone this until my sister was staying over one night and asked me if the house was haunted. Then I told her a few things, and she said she had seen the shadow person in the kitchen too. As we were talking about the strange things that I had experienced, something caught my eye above me near the ceiling. So I looked up to see a glowing white ball of light about the size of a grapefruit spiral up into the ceiling. My sister then asks me frantically if I had just seen the glowing orb too. In the house, I once dreamt fully vividly that the backyard door was wide open. I awoke and went to check, and it indeed was wide open, leading to the pitch black backyard. That made me shiver. Another time, I awoke only to turn my head and see that I was above my chest of drawers, levitating 6 feet in the air, halfway up the 12-foot ceiling. My blankets were draping off of me. Then I free fell and dropped onto my bed and bounced 3 times. I panicked but couldn't get out of bed as the draped blankets had scrunched up underneath me as I had fallen onto them. That made my heart race. When I was moving out, I was in the empty house alone by myself, vacuuming a bedroom, when I saw a person walk past the bedroom doorway and into the bathroom. I quickly went to go see, and nothing was there. Fourth story was posted 8 months ago by a Reddit user named Former Retail Lackey. When I was maybe 5, my mom did daycare. One afternoon, I was hanging out by myself in the basement, as I'd often do. I heard my dad call my name, so I replied back with, "What?" No answer. I walked up to the base of the stairs, looking up at the basement door, and replied louder, "What?" I figured he was either being stubborn or just didn't hear me. I walked up the stairs and opened the front door. Nobody was there, not even the other daycare kids. I walked to the living room. Still nobody. I walked to the kitchen and saw my mom and the other kids outside. I walked upstairs still looking for my dad, checking the bedrooms. He wasn't there. I decided to go outside and ask my mom where dad was. She replied with, "He's still at work." Deep down, I knew that. He usually didn't get home until around supper time. I told my mom he must be home because I heard him call my name. She said it must have just been my imagination. I shrugged it off, but it never sat right with me. It wasn't my imagination. It didn't just sound like my dad's voice. It was my dad's voice. In the basement, I'd sometimes see toys move by themselves, electronics going off by themselves, and other creepy things. One time, my pedal-powered car pedaled itself to the base of the stairs as I was about to go down there. I turned around and closed the door after that. I recently found out one of my younger sisters also experienced weird happenings in that house, particularly the basement.